And I think the most important thing to note, especially with energy system training, is that the aerobic energy system underpins all three. So
it's like the slab of a house.
It's comedy podcast, baby.
Nah, it makes a lot of sense, microdosing. Especially, I reckon it makes a lot of sense for young people.
Trying to stay healthy.
Yeah, and also they just get to practice lifting way more.
Yeah.
I reckon that's a huge contributor. But also when you get older, body gets way more banged up, way easier.
Yeah.
And so then you can use microdosing as a tool where you're like, look, I'm just trying to elicit this specific outcome, essentially.
Yeah.
And so I don't need to get bulk volume or anything. I literally just need to kind of engage that. And so you just do like a real short, sharp microdose.
Yeah, a minimal effective dose. What's the
But like minimal. You know how some people are, oh yeah, I do minimal effective dose, but it's like not.
They're going to 20 sets per body part per
I'm
week.
talking like minimal, like 3 sets of 3 working sets and just get out of there.
Yeah, that's the like pretty much the theory I've followed with team sport athletes for the last like 5-ish years. It's like, what's the absolute least we can do and get some sort of effect from it? And that's same as, like warm-ups, like I'll microdose, like every different session, like we do 6 sessions a week. So you can, if you got to warm up for every single one of those sessions, so you can start microdosing shit.
Yeah, and put like one quality in each warm-up that you kind of want to work on. Yeah. Then you're working them out all the time throughout the whole year.
Also makes it easier to write warm-ups when you're like, right, this is a change of direction day, or this is a speed day, instead of just trying to fucking pull something out of your ass every time. So, topics.
I reckon honestly, like 90% of people should be doing the minimal effective dose.
Yeah.
But I just don't see why you wouldn't do it. Like, why?
Yeah, and then you can train for more qualities when you're doing that as well. So if you're doing the minimal effective dose, like if you're doing like, all right, my one goal is to get as jacked as I can, I'm going to spend all my time in the gym getting jacked as fuck. Like, why not just do the minimal effective dose for hypertrophy and then also do some like min-effective dose for strength, min-effective dose for power, min-effective dose for plyometrics, and just be like, just make yourself generally more athletic. But I suppose it's not
as a bodybuilder?
Yeah, maybe not as a bodybuilder. Well, that's a pretty like unilateral goal, isn't it?
Yeah. But then even then, like obviously your body will, in most cases, the body reacts insanely to volume when you begin training, because it doesn't matter what the intensity is. You've never seen intensity before.
Yeah.
So it's just going to fucking blow up. But then when you get further into your career, if you are a bodybuilder, that's when you kind of like...
get smarter about it.
You can't pick up more volume. What are you going to do? Stay in the gym for fucking 6 hours?
I think there was a study that showed, like, I think the bog standard is like it's 20 sets per muscle group per week is like the point.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this, but I disagree with that. I know that's literature, but
No, I swear there's a study that showed like there are returns up to like fucking 50 sets per muscle group per week or something like that.
Yeah, but it's so...
You can keep going, you can keep chasing it.
It's so context dependent though. Like I was thinking about this the other day with bodybuilding. It's genetics, like through and through.
Fucking everything's genetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some bodybuilders as examples. The best bodybuilder ever, the black dude. What's his name?
Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah. Dude, he was powerlifting for ages, but he was like the best bodybuilder in the world. That's not conducive to the literature or being the...
Yeah. No, genetics are huge. But that's where it comes, like, experimenting is important, because, like, you don't know what your genetics are predisposed to. So, like, I reckon a guy like me, I need very, very high volume because my body just does not want to put muscle on whatsoever. Whereas, like, some guys can fucking walk into a gym and sneeze and walk out and they're just jacked as fuck.
Like Dorian Yates, who was a really good bodybuilder, he did like one hard set on a muscle group and he would move on. And like that's not conducive to fucking building the most mass or muscle, is it? But he's still got jacked as shit. So I guess it just depends. It's like the NFL player, Metcalf or whatever, who just eats gummies. Like just these are just genetic freaks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily matter what they're going to do because they're just built like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in their dad's nuts, but fucking, it's tough stuff,
Olympic
mate.
gold just in dad's nuts.
Yeah. All right, topics, mate. How have you been since I last saw you? It's been a long time.
It's been ages, yeah. Yeah, been good.
Sleep's all right?
Shit, it's terrible. Oh, it's gotten a little bit better. I was fucking hanging out my ass when I was on the pod last. My body's acclimated to the Perth time zone, and I'm going back to Melbourne tomorrow.
Just in time, yeah.
So I'm gonna spend another week in Melbourne trying to fucking gather my faculties.
What time are you going back tomorrow?
2:30 is the plane leaves, so I'm landing in Melbourne at like 9:30.
Oh, that's shit. That's an entire day, pretty much.
Yeah, so I booked work off tomorrow, so I can have the weekend to fucking get my shit together. But Victory start training on Saturday, so I'd actually only have 48 hours to get my shit together.
Yeah, poor bastard. Do you think now, like, thinking about how shit your quality of sleep is and volume, every component of it, do you think that you're gonna fix that this year? Now that we're going into a new year, or are you just
It's already fixed.
Are you just gonna keep?
I was already locked in before I came to Perth.
Was it?
Dude, I was locked in so hard. I don't remember the last time. I definitely did. I went out a couple of times in Melbourne, but as a whole, I was like 8.5 hours every single night, waking up naturally, no alarm.
How are you waking up naturally?
Just go to sleep early enough, and my body will wake me up before I have to.
But you had
go to
like
work.
a safety alarm, eh?
No.
Fuck off.
I was so dialed in, I didn't
You're
even have to
lying,
say it. I
because
swear
what
to
happens
God,
if you sleep through?
I just never would. I trust my body to wake. Like if you're sleep deprived, if you're operating in a sleep debt, then yeah, you might oversleep hard. But if you're fucking locked in, dialed in with your sleep, like you wake up every day within about the same 15-minute window.
Mate, I reckon you are subconsciously putting your mind through so much extra stress by not having a safety alarm. Like you're going to bed and subconsciously you're thinking, if I don't get up, I'm fucked.
My nervous system's just like
It's
freaking
shot.
out.
It's literally
Nah,
shot.
because I wouldn't have to leave for work until about, honestly, if I wanted to leave it till the last minute, probably 8:05. And I would wake up at like 6:30 every morning.
Well, you have lunch before you go to work as well?
Yeah. So even if I overslept, I would have to oversleep by like a ridiculous amount to still be late for work.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, so my sleep was dialed in, I was running every day, but I'm still not lifting any weights. So that's probably one of the New Year's. I still have that 6-minute time trial. I want to hit 2Ks. That's.
You know what? I was editing our podcast from almost a year ago, and you're talking about your like lust for that six minute 2K.
It's so like I just want to hit it. And then you hear people that run like fucking 10Ks at that pace, and it's like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
A 6 minute.
Did you just see the record for 100Ks?
What was it?
3:35 per kilometre.
Yeah, I do remember that actually. That's silly. I couldn't even run half of that at any pace.
Yeah, half.
That's why I just said I couldn't run half of that at any pace.
How many
50Ks at any pace? I could
Oh
not.
yeah. How long do you reckon you could run 3:35s for?
Oh, fuck. 5Ks?
Really?
You think you could run longer?
I don't think I could run 5Ks at a 3:35 pace. I reckon I could run like 2.
I reckon if I went all out, that might be my 5K max. Maybe a bit slower, maybe like 3:40.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's insane. 100 kilometres, man.
But yeah, then you got like, I was talking to my mate, the one you met when you got, when you VO2 max test at West Coast ages ago, that guy who's runner. I was talking to him because I caught up with him in Melbourne.
What's he doing there?
He's in Brizzy, but he was working on the Queensland, I think it was like schoolboys track and field team or something like that. So they were at Lakeside Stadium for an event. But yeah, we were talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, because I was asking if any of the kids he treats asks him about his times, and he's like, man, kids are so like fucking big-headed these days. They don't give a fuck. Like no one asks me what, and like he is a serious runner. It's like no one asks me my times. Every now and then they ask me, and then I'll tell them and blow them out the water. But
why do you reckon? Do you reckon it's because
social media? Or
yeah, it's because that's like we were saying the other day. Social media is blown out of proportion. Like the what's the word I'm trying to think of? I haven't had enough of my cold brew yet to think of words. The benchmark essentially for things like the quota. Yeah, but people just think that like crazy shit's normal. So that's why do you reckon we would have been better runners when we were kids if we had all this information like readily available and you saw people doing that and then you're like, oh, that's possible?
Dude, if I even just started training solely for running, I think about this all the time. If I, in my teens, actually just threw away team sports and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to run. Because like I didn't have the forethought to think like, what are my genetics set up for? And it's definitely not team sport.
That's why you need to be born in Soviet Russia. So then you don't need to have the forethought. Someone's just going to test you and go, okay, you're probably going to be good at this.
Yeah. But it's
and
not
and if you're not good at that, you're just going to practice for 10 years and then work at a gas station.
Then they send you to the front line in Ukraine. His problem isn't even that kids like the bar's high. They just don't give a fuck. Like they just won't even ask him. It doesn't even clock. And I think it's just the level of kids he's working with. Like they're just so self-absorbed of like, I'm the fucking best, which you kind of need to be if you're going to be an elite athlete.
Yeah, you got to have that mindset.
Don't even think that the physio treating them with fucking veins coming out of his ass.
Is he a physio?
Yeah, he's physio.
Yeah.
He was an exercise scientist. He was studying physio when you met him, but now he got his degree and then went to Brisbane to go work. But anyway, we were talking and I was like, oh yeah, sometimes like some of the boys at Victory will find out my 2K time, and it'll be a big deal. And then like I realised who I was talking to, and I was like, yeah, I'm still chasing a 6 minute 2K. And he's like, buddy, I can run that pace for 10.
What's his 2K?
I don't even think he pays attention to that because he's so track and field biased. I think he estimated it once, but it's silly. I think I worked out his MAS to be like 7.5 meters per second or something like that. Yeah, it's fucking silly quick. It's basically, it's most people's sprint threshold.
Yeah, that's pretty hectic. It hell pisses me off that I'm just not.
I'll never be that good.
Like, I'm in the grand scheme of things, just talking about the average person, I'm quite a good runner. Yeah. But when you're talking about good runners, I'm just not even in the conversation of anything.
Yeah, not even close.
It pisses me off how someone could just like destroy me.
Yeah, they wouldn't even piss on you.
Yeah.
Like they're just that good. He was also like, you talk about mileage, he was talking about, what did he do? He had a soleus injury. And we were talking about, I was like, oh, what was your mileage before you did that? And he was like, oh, I was back up to like 130 a week. It's like, no wonder. And he was one of those kids that, because his mum and dad were runners, so he had like all his eggs in that basket from day one.
But that's it. That's what you're saying. Like, you know how you're saying runners have, like in the running scene, cunts just have massive egos. Like, congrats, buddy. You practiced running for 20 years and you're good at running. Like, I could do that. I just don't fucking... Like, anyone can do... Not anyone, obviously, but like... If someone practiced for 20 years, they'd be good at running.
Yeah. But like, it's a commitment and genetics-based sport.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all it is. It's not really a skill-based sport. You can talk about running economy. Like, there are definitely levels to that, but... It's not so much a skill. That's another thing that's commitment. Like, just how many reps can you get? Your economy slowly gets better. Yeah. But yeah, he had perfect genetics for it, plus like probably 100K a week mileage from the point he was like 15 onwards. So obviously you're going to get to that level.
But these people sometimes, whether it's runners or like somebody else, and they like mock you and they're like, oh yeah, if you could do that. I'm like, you're pissing me off. Do you seriously want me to drop all my shit and train for 12 years to fucking beat you in a running race? Yeah. Because if that's what it takes, I'll do it. Yeah. Like, I'll drop all my shit for 12 years just to beat you in a running race.
To be honest, runners are more impressive to me the older I get. When I was a teenager, I thought they were the fucking biggest losermen. Like, I couldn't give a shit about runners when I was a teenager. And now I'm getting older. Maybe it's because I'm just fucking unked out now. And like, I've lost any opportunity to be good at any sort of sport.
The fact that you call others out for being chopped and unk as shit probably every 4 minutes probably signifies the fact that you are well and truly chopped.
I'm projecting how hard I'm projecting my unk on others.
But speaking of athletes that you least respect or you think are the biggest losers, what would circle out your top three?
Tough. My mind goes, it's not. That's not fair. I was gonna say speed walkers, but like they actually can fucking move. Like there's some people that I think they run at like 3:30 pace, and they're walking. Every sport's got like my mind goes like ping pong or pool or something like that, but they're still like crazy skill based. What are yours? Give me some ideas.
I'm not shitting on athletes. Fuck that.
I can't. Yeah, I don't know.
I respect anybody that has a crack at anything.
If you're truly elite at something, I think it's always impressive. If there's something that enough people do and you're the fucking best of it, I think it's always pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I can't. But like in terms of what I would like to work, I think Claire or Jay was asking me, I think it was Claire the other day, if like I would ever work in combat sports. And you would think having like a background in combat sports, I would be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'd love to work in the UFC or something. But I only like training people that are running based.
I was going to say at the start of this podcast, I completely forgot to intro with this, but you're a running guy.
Yeah,
that's it.
Running,
like
you've
become the running guy. Like you're a sports scientist, but you're like a running guy.
Yeah, I would be pretty. I don't think I would get as much. I wouldn't be as fulfilled if I was working in a non-running based sport.
Yeah,
I just love running based.
But you could send them on like 8-kilometer slow runs along the sides of highways. UFC fighters.
Yeah, but I would still be. I don't know actually that I would make them run. Depends on the type of fighter that's in front of me. Like if they are a proper runner.
But they all still run.
Yeah.
They all run like the traditional,
Kamaru Usman runs?
Well, no, because his fucking knees were fucked forever. But like...
Yeah, it would depend on... I don't want to get into this rabbit hole, but I wouldn't run every single UFC fighter.
Yeah. I just think UFC training would be really hard.
It would be, yeah. I think I could still like transfer my skills to another non-running based sport. It just wouldn't be as interesting to me.
Yeah, that's fair. But the thing with UFC is that like UFC encapsulates literally like every physical quality.
Yeah.
So there's like no real specificity about it except for like the strengths of the actual
fighter.
The
skin off your opponent's face, that's the specificity.
Yeah, literally. Whereas every other sport there's kind of like some specificity, like you've got a main physical quality or attribute that you're trying to improve.
I think you could still break down the demands of combat sport.
Of course you could, but it would be harder than I reckon most.
Yeah, you'd probably be training more qualities than, I don't know, to be fair, I've not really broken that down. But I just love that running. I could fully work in like track and field or something like that.
Yeah, you should.
It's not enough money unless you're like right at the top. And like I also don't really like the culture of track and field. I would love to, like breaking down the actual skill of it and training for it, because they can fully lock in hard as shit, but I would miss the culture of team sports. I reckon team sport culture beats everything.
Yeah, see, that is the best and it's really important. But then if you have like just individual athletes, you just 100% buy-in all the time. Like you just said, like they're there because they want to win. Like they're not relying on anybody else as well.
And you can train them in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Like the tricky thing about team sports is logistics. Logistics kills you in team sports, but yeah, track and field, if you've got someone elite enough, you can train them completely in a vacuum and like control absolutely everything.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go crazy, you could put a heart rate monitor on 24/7 and just track their heart rate throughout the day, heart rate variability 24/7, like monitor just dial everything in on them.
But that's probably something that you like about team sports is like so many constraints, and then that just makes everything just all over the shop. It's always changing, like no periodization or anything essentially.
Yeah, it's a very dynamic environment.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to move on your feet really quick. And that's why there's so many fucking meetings in team sport, because shit's just changing all the time, making a lot of last minute changes. Anyway, what was your topic?
All right, now that we're talking about running,
yeah.
I wanted to talk mostly about field athletes today. So football, rugby, soccer, which I like to call.
Why'd you pause on soccer?
Well, I like to call it football, but in Australia, it's people call it soccer. That's how they relate to it. But
I interchange on them both. Hey, I'm very what's the word when
you're a bit of a chameleon.
Yeah, I guess
on your environment.
Yeah, but you know where like
switch up on your day ones as soon as you fucking
you know when white people will like selectively choose their language, like shift their language. Yeah, what's that called?
I don't know. I don't know what the term is.
Yeah, I can't remember the term either. But that's basically what I do between calling it football and soccer. It just depends on what crowd I'm around.
Yeah, I'm trying not to piss anybody off because SJs needs all the income they can get before they bounce hell heavily down the chain. But
I think before you switch up on all your day ones.
Yeah, I need to switch on my day ones badly, so that's why I'm just trying to relate to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, those kind of field sports, I just want to speak about those kind of what matters, what doesn't matter, things like that, and also kind of how we'd approach a pre-season for being a field athlete, essentially. Because I think it's pretty important, especially with physical field sports like rugby and footy. Especially as you get older, it's really hard to improve during the season because, for example, when I was 20, I could just go to the gym every day and go to footy every day and just keep improving. Nowadays, I play a game of footy and it's like you're on damage control for the next 4 or 5 days, but you also have to get in your lifts and try to keep maintenance and possibly improve on things at the same time.
Yeah, I reckon as soon as you're in season, you're pretty much in damage control.
Yeah.
From that point onwards. But,
basically, you feel shit until Friday and you're like, okay, I got to play tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much. But if you're also as you're older, if you have been playing that sport for a long time, then it gets like your training age gets really, really long. Then it gets increasingly harder to get better in a pre-season.
Yeah.
Like if you've never really played a sport before and then you fucking pick it up and your training age is young as shit, then yeah, you can get better in season because you're just like building out the skill acquisition of the sport and the skill acquisition of sprinting. Like the bar is so low, you can continue to raise it. But yeah, definitely if you've been playing it since you were a young teen and now you're in your mid-20s, so you've got like a 10 plus year training age, you've lifted the bar on everything really high. In season, it's just maintain those qualities as best you can.
Pretty much. Unless you've been training shit for 10 years.
Yeah,
then you've probably got a bit of room for movement.
Yeah, maybe. But I think that's the aim of the game in season because everyone, I think, in default is slowly detraining in season.
Yeah.
So if you can maintain those qualities throughout the season or at least prevent detraining more than other people, you're going to get the perception like you are training and getting ahead.
Yeah.
That's why, maintaining qualities is the aim of the game in season.
Yeah, it's really about confidence and mentality towards the end of that season, hey? If you're not injured, you're probably feeling like you're improving. Just getting continuity and stuff like that.
Well, that's still the number one thing like we look at. Like your most important quality is, I forget the saying now.
Your most important quality is just fucking stay on the pitch.
Your most important ability is availability.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Well, it's just purely reps.
Yeah.
Like if you're fit, this is what we were talking about the other day, like with runners. If you're fit and healthy, you're going to get more reps in than someone who's sort of yo-yoing and going back and forth between injured and fit.
Yeah.
So just accumulating.
And also I think the thing that people forget with sports and skill-based ones, which are these field sports, is like the actual sport is what you're trying to get better at. We go to the gym and we run, right, which is severely important, but it doesn't mean fuck all if you're actually not playing or getting better at the sport, you know.
Yeah.
And if you play like 20 games in a row, mentally you're feeling, you're probably fatigued, but you're feeling sharp as in terms of like confidence of actually playing, which is the really important part that people forget a lot. We're in a day of age where people are so fucking infatuated with like improving their physical qualities, focusing on getting stronger and doing the extras and stuff like that. Brother, just play every week. Get better that way.
No, keep the main thing. That's another thing like we look at a lot at work now is like we can get really caught up in like the masturbation of fucking being a performance coach and like all the extras and like what can we do here, what can we do there, but like the ultimate constraint in field sports is time, and you've always got to like reset yourself and like keep the main thing. Like if we can get fitness through football, we're going to do it, and if we can tick our boxes, but we still want to keep the main thing. Like the most important thing is getting the reps in for the players, especially in an academy environment where like the goal is to get them to the pros. They're still developing. We want to spend as much time on the ball as we possibly can. And if we can adjust and tweak the parameters of whatever training session they're doing or whatever drill they're doing to achieve some qualities, that's really good, but we need to keep them on the ball as much as we can.
Yeah, definitely. So it brings us to our first point.
Yeah.
If you're a field athlete and you can't run, you're pretty fucked, I reckon. I know we just talked about skills and how that's the main part, but like, for example, if you play footy or football, soccer, and you can't run at all, you got to be a fucking absolute beast.
Yeah, you do see, I think you see that more in soccer than you do in footy.
Yeah.
Guys that cannot run, like your classic six.
Yeah.
That'll just the fat unit that'll sit in the six, receive the ball, keep someone on his back, turn and just fucking pig it to someone.
Yeah.
But definitely if you want to get to an elite level, you need to run. Like we have some fucking freak. I've seen some seriously freak runners in my time that if they wanted to drop everything and go into running, they fully could.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what you're saying is if you can't run, quit your sport and start running. Start clocking 100k weeks.
I'm just saying, go and watch. People watch footy and soccer and they're just elite movers. But you don't think that. You don't watch and be like their running economy is elite, their change of direction is elite. It's all elite and they're still performing the skill at the same time. Nobody actually thinks about that. It'll make your life so much easier if you can just run and you have a bit of a tank.
Well, that's what I tell when I'm in the past trying to train up athletes on like running mechanics and being a good mover. I'll usually explain to them like, think about in a game what percentage of the game you're spending like running, changing direction, sprinting, moving versus what percentage you're on the ball. Like it's fucking 99-1. And like the better you move and can like navigate the field, the more you're going to get on the ball. So you should put all your eggs in this basket to how good can I move. Like obviously the skill really, really matters. You've got to be good on the ball, but your game's going to benefit if you can move better.
Yeah.
So like in the warm up, fucking lock in, because right now we're just training your ability to move. So use this time and get better at moving.
But even if you don't have a gas tank, your sport's going to be so much harder for you to perform. Because then when you actually get into a position where you can perform the skill,
you're fatigued.
You're going to struggle to execute because you're literally fucking gassed out.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of literature on that.
Especially with like not so much soccer, but footy, because footy, you know, they probably average about 4 more kilometres a game or something like that, which is a considerable amount of distance. And it just if you play recreational footy and you got a gas tank, man, you're
head and shoulders
so far ahead.
Yeah.
So far ahead. That's all you have to do. And it's not hard to get a better gas tank. It's not like you're asking to fucking improve your sprint drastically or something.
This is why I would love to just plonk into some like recreational team sports again, just to see what difference having a gas tank would make.
That's what I've been saying to Sam. I said to Sam for SJs, I want to do in 1 year, I want to do as many sports as I can. And I reckon just because I'm like just fine athletically.
Yeah.
Like it's like futsal, man. Local futsal.
Yeah.
I can't even I have zero touch. I'm so shit, garbage skill wise. But I still kick like 3 goals a game.
Always in the right place.
Just because I'm somewhat athletic.
It's a groundhog.
And I got a gas tank.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes a huge difference. But yeah, there's literature on that as well. Like your capacity to perform skills becomes significantly less when you're fatigued. Even your like capacity to concentrate becomes significantly less.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got a gas tank, you'll be more effective on the ball when you get there because you're not fucking the corners of your eyes aren't closing.
Yeah, you're not like fucking rolling the back here.
Fucking ball.
But that's why I said if you can't run, you're pretty fucked. It's a very low hanging fruit that you can navigate and like take care of.
Yeah.
That will really benefit your game. So that's like one really important thing that you need to consider, especially in your pre-season.
So let's get into the actual practicality, and we'll start. Let's start from off season all the way through.
What, just create the full-blown blueprint?
Yeah, why not? Well, what do you want to do? How do you want to approach it?
Yeah, we can. Starting from the 1st of January.
No, not 1st of Jan, because your off season starts at the end of the footy season?
Yeah, but everyone that's going to listen to this, it's not going to be out
too late.
Yeah, you're done. You're shot. Give up next year.
No, but we might as well tell them for next year when next year rolls around, because they'll still be listening to this potty. People will return to this potty.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we can start from the start. The start.
Just makes more sense to start from the start, because I think you need the context of what you've already done, like what you do on Jan 1st. What you did in October is going to influence what you do on Jan 1st.
Yeah.
If you've done nothing in like your pre-season looks very different if you've done nothing in off-season.
Unless you're a fucking genetic weapon like Ben Cousins and you can just train.
Dude, he worked hard. He was a workhorse.
I know, but man, what was he doing between like late September to early November back in the day? I don't know if he was training that much.
Hard.
Yeah, I know he worked really hard, and I guarantee he worked hard from like mid-November. What the fuck was he doing for that month and a half after the season?
I heard that even when he went to rehab in America, he asked someone at West Coast for a fucking running program.
Dude, Ben Cousins, hands down, from what I've seen, is one of the hardest trainers ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't know how he did it with all the variables you have to consider that he was in.
A lot of cogs in there.
A lot of cogs in the machine, but he trained the house down.
Yeah.
But then eventually kept doing his string, you know.
Yeah, you reckon there's a... I'm not even going to talk about
it. Let's not talk about it, but I reckon, yes, there's a correlation between absolutely destroying yourself for years and then just fucking body
give it up on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so off-season. What would you do in off-season?
What would I do?
Yeah.
I would...
What's most important?
One piece of advice I'd give people is once the off-season starts, I know you've got that buffer of like, if you're in elite sports, you've probably got almost 2 months before you go back, like a month and a half. If you make the grandy, late September, you go back mid-November. Yeah, so six weeks.
Yeah, I've been in teams where we only get a month. 4 to 6 weeks you get.
4 to 6 weeks. One piece of advice I'd give is don't take the foot off the pedal, but make sure you continue training things. Like make sure you continue to sprint just once a week.
Definitely, yeah.
Just once a week, and make sure you just continue to like tick the legs over as well, essentially. Like don't take it as like, oh, I'm just going to take the entire month, 6 weeks off.
No, definitely not. You'll run into problems if you
make sure you continue to stay fit, but also don't skip up on the sprinting, because if you just stop sprinting for 6 weeks, like you're just fucking asking for trouble.
Yeah, I would say you can let your foot off the pedal a little bit, but keep moving.
Yeah.
Why would you keep moving? What's the mentality behind that?
Why?
Yeah. What are you achieving?
Just to not detrain, essentially.
Yeah, you're just preventing deconditioning. So like we would say...
And also, deconditioning in every way, whether it's like fitness-wise or like tissue quality or anything like that.
Yeah, you've got, exactly that, fitness and robustness. Because then if you let yourself detrain, then you're wasting time when you eventually come back retraining before you can actually get better.
Yeah.
So continue to sprint once a week, because then you probably won't pull your hamstring when you get back and have to sprint again. And then maintain a level of running so that, like, first off, your fitness doesn't detrain, but like your legs are still robust, like you're still turning over like at least 15 Ks a week or something like that.
Yeah.
Like even for this Christmas period, we had the boys doing, I think on average they were hitting like 22 Ks a week just through running, just so that when we get back, we're not losing 2 weeks trying to get them back up to what they're normal. Like I think in week, they were at like in the mid-30s before we left. So at least the gap between like what we wanted to get them back to and what they were doing in Christmas isn't huge. So we don't have to waste a month babysitting.
Yeah, it's that gap essentially. Like that 4 to 6 week period, you don't even have to work hard, but that will make the world of difference for you returning compared to the guy that, you know, just took the piss, didn't give a fuck, and he was like, all right, I'll lock in from the day one of training.
Yeah.
But then you're all right, you've got to play catch up, like you just said.
Yeah, you can just start. It just means you can start putting in quality work in pre-season from day one rather than having to ease your way back into pre-season. But then, so there's levels to it. You can do what we were talking about. Well, first off, you can sit on the couch, do fuck all, and you'll waste the first month pre-season.
Which I've actually done that a couple of times.
Oh,
so from experience, that was pretty annoying.
Doesn't pay off. Yeah.
And we're telling you this from experience. It does not pay off.
Nah. So you can do that. You can just turn the legs over. You can let your foot up off the pedal and just maintain your qualities as best you can, or just try and prevent a bit of deconditioning. Or you can take off season and get better. So this is where off season can be really, really valuable, because you don't have the demands of a game to work around. You don't have to manage that fatigue. So you can, I feel like you've got like a volume, kind of like you can spend your fatigue. So like fatigue equals adaptation more often than not. You've got to fatigue your body to achieve an adaptation. and in season you're spending all your fatigue, like all the fatigue you got in your wallet or whatever, or your bank account, you're spending all that on the game because the game's demanding and you have to play the game. But in season now you've got 100 fatigue points back from the game and you can start spending it elsewhere. That's where off season can be really, really useful. Like if you've identified like my gas tank's crap and that really let me down during the year, well now I can take those 100 fatigue points and I can start really, really training my gas tank and I can move up. Like even like the volume you can deal with, like if in team sports, I reckon players start breaking down. It depends on the player, but between that 30 to 40 Ks a week, somewhere in that realm, some people are even less. But pure just running, like just remove team sports from it, you're just fucking turning the tank over, just being a distance runner, you can push that to like 70, 80. Obviously, like I wouldn't recommend that for a team sports player, but people can tolerate a lot more when it's just running. So you can use that volume elsewhere and really get fitter in the off season.
Yeah, that's probably, like I said, don't take the foot too much off the pedal of anything. Just make sure you're keeping everything in just a little bit, sprinkling it in, but focusing on capacity and just building up that endurance is not a bad shout for off season.
Yeah, could be anything. I would just say pick one quality and be like, this is my weak point. Do enough training to maintain the others. And like, what would you say the qualities are?
Obviously endurance, like top speed, acceleration, stuff like that. Maybe if you feel like you're weak as piss in the contest, probably work on strength, stuff like that,
Yeah, I would say, like endurance or aerobic capacity is one, max velocity is another quality, change of direction is a quality, like just your strength in the gym is a quality. You could argue change of direction is also like explosive power. They're kind of the same bucket, but that's another quality.
I like change of direction as its own little shtick, eh?
Yeah, because there's the skill of change of direction, but I think the physical demands of change of direction is like speed power.
Yeah,
pretty much. But those would be the main qualities. So you could look at yourself and go, like I'm really, really quick. I'm really strong in the gym, but my gas tank let me down, so I'm going to do what's the minimal effective dose to maintain those other qualities, and then I'm going to take the rest of my fatigue points and put them all into running and just get as fit as I can. Or it's the other way around. Maybe like in my case, I'm weak as piss, but I can run. So I'm going to do whatever the minimal effective dose is just to maintain my fitness, and I'm going to spend the rest of my week in the gym and get as strong as I can, or maybe going to spend the rest of my week sprinting. Obviously, that's a trickier one because you might get injured if you do too much of that. But maybe I'm going to go from one max velocity exposure in a week in training to now I'm going to do 3 because I don't have the other demands of a game hampering me, and then I'm going to maintain the rest.
Well, that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did once footy was done. I built up to doing some proper sprinting training, and then I kind of zoned in on that because, like you said, you don't have the worry of needing to rock up to a training on a Tuesday or Thursday or a game on a Saturday. You know, you can sprint and then you can wake up the next day and think like, I feel good, I'll probably go again in a day or two. Or you can think like, I'm fatigued as hamstrings are fried, I've got to take a few days off. But you've got the luxury to do that because you don't have any responsibilities.
You've got more control of your schedule.
Exactly. And that's like a example of basically what you were just mentioning. Yeah,
unless obviously you've got to still wake up and do your 9 to 5. You know, control that schedule.
Fuck, your 9 to 5 you can do it, doesn't matter what state you're in.
Take time off in the off season. Tell your boss you're showing up because you got to lock in for social footy next year.
I would have done that back in the day when I was a kid. I would have done that for sure.
Well, you would have taken time off in the.
I would have messaged my coach and been like, or my boss and been like, I just really need to focus on my fucking game, man. I'm going to take off now.
I'm going to go without pay for fucking 6 weeks here so I can lock in on footy next year. Yeah, so that's how I look at off season. You at the very least maintain qualities, and if you really want to make use of it, pick one quality and spend a little bit more time on it and get better at it.
You'll be miles ahead of everybody else if you just do that. Focus on maintaining everything and then focus on one area. But you'll see there's a bunch of athletes that have been training hell hard during this break that don't have to, that are going to kill it next year. Like I've seen Christian Petrarca doing so many like gym and field sessions on his own, mate, he is going to run amok next year. And that's what he's done. He's just built that gap compared to everybody else.
Yeah. It's crazy. You would think, like, if you were an elite athlete and that's your job, like, you would think, like, how could you even justify not doing that in off-season?
Well, you know how people always like, oh, LeBron spends $1 million a year on his body? He earns fucking like $50 million a season. Why would you not spend like 10% of your wage?
It's like spending $100 a year on my body.
Yeah.
Like, if you convert that from what he earns to what I earn.
That's literally the equivalent. So it's like, why on earth would you not do that? That makes perfect sense. You're investing into your source of income.
Yeah, pretty much.
And your longevity as well.
Yeah. But it also is such a fucking grind. Like I say, there's no excuse not to if you're an elite athlete, but the season's so fucking long.
But that's why, like, we've had this conversation a million times. Like, there's a bunch of people who are pro athletes that aren't as good as people we've seen or know that aren't elite athletes, and it's because they got that dog in them.
Yeah.
There's literally some fellas rolling around country footy who are fucking ridiculously good. Yeah. Like, the best I've ever played against. And I know for a fact they're better than people that play AFL.
Yeah.
But they can't do it. They can't do the grind.
Yeah.
Same in the NBA. The amount of absolute guns that are terrorizing leagues around the world that are tenfold better than some of the people in the NBA, like in the actual league. But the people in the NBA are in it for the grind, and they're also willing to like accept sacrificing being good to like do some bullshit role, and that's the difference.
They're obsessed.
It's honestly not about being better. It's about filling the quota.
Yeah, I think, there's a threshold of skill that you need to have to make it to the elite level, but unless you are just absolute, like, take the piss good at this sport, there's also a threshold of just, you need to be obsessed with the sport. Because, like, even I've worked in lots of academies, and I think, like, could I have done that if I was in that setup as a teenager? Like, these kids...
They're mature as shit as well.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They wake up, they go to school, spend all day at school, they finish school, come straight to the facility for, like player arrival is 4 o'clock, I think. So, like, they might be able to get home, get some food, straight to the facility, then you're there until 8:30. Unless you've got another meeting. Sometimes they're there till 9, or if they've got the gym or something. And that's 5 nights a week and then a game. That's your whole life pretty much. And you're spending that in an academy environment. They don't have social, their entire social network is other kids in the academy and coaches. That's it. You're basically sacrificing your entire teenage years to maybe make it to the pros, and then you get to the pros and it's the same shit.
Yeah, see, and that's maturity. That's like young maturity at its finest. I always think that about college athletes.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally getting a college degree and you're a professional athlete at the same time.
Yeah.
And you're juggling two of the shittest things, well, not shittest things, but like hardest things at the same time.
Yeah. That's why you just need to be obsessed.
Yeah.
And then, you make it to the pros, you got to stay obsessed.
I always wonder how, you know, when you see some athletes and they're college graduates and you're like, how did you graduate college? In a nice way.
Yeah.
Like,
in the States, I think it's a proper, like, boys club. Like, the coaches like just pass him. Because don't they have, like, rules in the States? Like, you've got to be...
They do, but the States were really bad with college back in the day for that, and for also just fucking paying them shitloads of money under the table.
Yeah, well, now you've got NIL.
Yes, they just started paying them, but back in the day they didn't pay them, but fuck it.
What's his name? Howie Menzel or whatever. That, like, one of the greatest quarterbacks. He played for, I can't remember. But he used to talk about, like, how he'd party the night before games and things like that. Anyway, I saw him on a podcast because he was around before name and likeness was a thing, and he was like, dude, I was getting silly money. Like, people would give me Mustangs, this and that. Like, I was on, big money. But...
You're that guy. If you're the quarterback of a college, man.
Dude, you got a Heisman.
Yeah.
Heisman is a quarterback. Yeah, just the fucking man. But he was like a massive partier.
See, and that's another thing, not to stray away too far from the conversation, even though we already have drastically, is like, we're saying you got to be locked in hard, but there are also those genetic freaks like Ronaldo, but the Brazilian Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldinho, man, he used to go to clubs.
You know, like, I've heard stories of Ronaldo being flown out to parties and then being flown back the day of training, and he just carved up, and he was just like, I need to do that to like, that's like his form of therapy.
Yeah.
You know, other players.
Ronaldinho used to go to the clubs like before games and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, even this Metzel guy, like he made it to the NFL. He's like one of the greatest college athletes of all time, and then made it to the NFL. And I think he got like 2 seasons in. And
really?
He was done. Yeah, because he just couldn't do the same shit in the NFL.
I wonder why. I mean, obviously they're fucking levels above the rest, but
yeah, no, he didn't make it in the NFL.
That's one thing you hell don't want to be, is like a elite child athlete, and then just not be able to translate that as an adult, because that just means like you were.
As soon as you're gonna get paid,
yeah,
you're just throwing it away.
And like you were just obviously fucking a man child.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. This is your physical qualities that got you there.
Yeah.
All right, so off season's ticked off.
That's it. That takes us to the Chrissy period.
Christmas is the same thing, just continue. Well, yeah, I imagine if you're playing for a decent team, you have a pre-Christmas block where you're training. So yeah, off season, if you can build a quality in the time you've got. Pre-season or pre-Christmas block is completely up to your team. Whatever they're going to do, and you're just going to participate in it, and hopefully you stay fit and healthy. Christmas block, I would just say purely maintain. Don't worry about building any qualities, just maintain whatever you've built.
Just don't fuck up too badly over the Christmas period. Like,
pretty much don't undo all the progress.
Yeah, you're going to screw up, but just don't screw up majorly. Just, like you said, just try to maintain.
Yeah,
and you'll be fine.
Don't have a ridiculous silly season. Don't be on the piss every day like I have been. I'm back in Perth.
Yeah.
I've undone probably the last at least 2 months of running since I've come here.
Because it's just like just post season that we were talking about. You can build a gap there, but then over the 2-week Christmas period, like you can also build even more of a buffer. Like these are all just small little buffers you can build to just be levels above the rest.
Yeah, and that's what makes a great athlete. Like you just patience and chip away, and just like make the right decisions over a long period of time, and it snowballs, and then eventually you're head and shoulders above everyone. So yeah, just don't detrain in Christmas. Tick the legs over as hard as it is, especially in fucking WA when it's 35 odd degrees every fucking day over that Christmas period.
Get out in the morning. Nothing better than a sunrise run.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that keeps you from getting too heavy on the piss the night before. Yeah, that would be my Christmas.
That's a really underrated like statement. What? Just giving yourself like an objective you have to hit the next morning, so that you actually just don't go and get flat out on the piss or do something dumb.
Yeah.
How good is it when, like, for example, your mates are saying to go out or something, and you're like, I've organised a run with my mate.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Like it's written, set in stone. I've got to do that. It's actually really underrated advice.
That's one thing I think we do in the academy that's smart, is we make the boys train Saturday, Sunday morning. So
yeah, like that is elite. They
just can't, even if they wanted to. Even if it's just staying up late playing games, like they can't do it because they're arriving at, I think player arrival was like 8 o'clock on a Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, they just can't be idiots on the weekend, especially the older boys who could go out if they want to. They don't have an option really, and they'll get found out pretty quick.
Yeah.
This pod is powered by SJ's Community, where lifting, laughing and living better all collide. Check out our 7-day free trial via the show notes or in our Instagram.
So into the new year, this is like teams that probably start training that week.
Yeah, maybe. Usually first week of January, most teams come back. So obviously, like we said in the pre-Christmas block, a lot of it's going to come down to what your team's doing. Like you're not going to have control about that. You're just going to participate really. But there are things, extras you can do outside depending on the setup. If you're in an elite, like either, I doubt any elite athletes are watching, but if you're in an elite setup or in an academy setup, I would just say let the coaches do what they're going to do. Don't do any extras because you're already probably right at your they're probably already training you to the gills. You don't want to do extras. And to be fair, players get in fucking big shit when we find out they're doing extras outside. But if you're in like a normal, you play...
What, even at under 23s?
Yeah, like we found out, one of our players we found out was doing extras, just doing like one-on-one sessions, which is a really common thing. There'll be like some random guy, they're going to do one-on-one sessions, just skill sessions outside. This kid in particular, he was like modified coming back, and he had like a criteria that we couldn't bring his heart rate above 90%. And Yeah, and then he's like training one-on-one with this guy, and he's not got a heart rate monitor on. Like he doesn't know what his heart rate's at. So yeah, they're getting pretty big shit when it gets found out that like, and then also like the club insures you as well. So like if you get injured in that one-on-one session, now it's our responsibility to do your rehab and get you back. Like this guy's fucking scot-free. So you've gone and fucking whatever paid him to do your one-on-one session, and he gets to take a bunch of photos and post it on his Instagram that I'm training with this guy. But then he goes and fucking tears your ACL on that session. Now
if that happens, something catastrophic like that, understandable.
Yeah.
But
even if it's a hamstring, man, fucking that's like 21 days that our medical staff has to fucking treat you, when they could be treating other players that have been injured under our watch.
Yeah.
So it's just adds burden to our program. It's our responsibility to get you back, and also like now we can't train, we can't use you as well. It just affects everything. So, and then the club's insurance, if you had to go under the knife for it, it's the club that's probably gonna have to pay for that.
Why can't you just liaise with the...
You can.
Yeah.
Like that's normally what we ask.
So like, if they were like, oh look, I'm gonna do this, liaise with this dude, tell him what you want, then it's fine.
Yeah, if we it's like sometimes it comes up because performance staff will just be chatting with players, doing our own thing, and sometimes it comes up and we find out they did something during the week. The first thing we ask is like, do the coaches know? And then if they go, oh yeah, well, I told the head coach, he's across it. I told the head of performance, he's across it. Then we go, cool, whatever, because they're across it, they've planned for it, and we know that it's happening. But yeah, if they don't know about it, it's a big problem. Cause and then it's also just load that we don't know about, like that we're not planning for. So that week they might the guy they're doing one-on-one training with might not know that that's the week that we're peaking, and like this kid's doing 35 Ks in a week, or he's doing 2.5 kilometers of high-speed distance. And then he goes and does a sprint session with him and his fucking hamstring goes. So yeah, that's the other thing. We just want to know about it. And like saying that, more often than not, they will still tell him no. They'll just say we're not going to, you're doing enough. You're training 5 days a week. You don't need extras. We would rather just have the control. Which fair enough, if we're providing you with the facilities.
Logically understandable, but mid-as I reckon. Like, just say, kick the ball with him, like, fucking whatever, do whatever he wants.
Nah, we just would prefer the control. But that's a very...
Imagine trying to control, like, Kobe Bryant or some shit. Fuck it out.
Yeah. It's just smart. Like, in the long term, it's going to benefit them more if we just have control over what they're doing loading-wise. Like, we've got smart people in charge, like, versus a person we just don't know.
Yeah.
If we know but even if they're a really smart guy, like, we can't share all that information with them anyway, and like tell them like this is where he's at with his loading, like put a GPS unit on him. And like I know teams will do that in the off season, like when players go away, there's certain coaches that will do like camps with players that are popular, and the club knows them and the club likes them, so they will even recommend their players, if you're going to do something, go see this guy because he's in contact with us, we're liaising with him, he knows what we want. And like usually you'll give them a set of parameters, like, oh yeah, if you can aim for this. Same as like when we send players away on camps and things like that. Like we have a lot of players that are in like the Joeys and things like that. We're always communicating with their coaches. Like their coaches will send us the data back. We'll tell them where our players are at, so that we're not doing anything silly. But
that's it. As long as you just navigate the situation accordingly, don't do anything dumb. Like you could give someone a bunch of as long as they tell the club, and then you're like, okay, these are the parameters you have to look out for.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Stay under like an RP of this. Don't use the fucking strings, anything like that. You know.
Yeah. Just
and then
communicate.
if they're like a professional, they can orchestrate that properly.
Yeah. But also like the staff is under so much burden. Like we don't really want to have to spend that time communicating with that person.
Yeah, you get paid. That's your job.
Dude, the burden's crazy. Having to like, it's easy when it's like national camps, like the Joeys and things like that, because those staff understand, they're in the same environment, so they know how to communicate it really well. They'll just send like the CSV files with all of their data in it, and they'll send it in a format that's pretty easy for us to convert it to our format. And then they'll usually send like a report, like a summary of like, this is what we did on camp. That makes it easy for us. But like, yeah, if you're working with someone that's just hasn't got that background, and you're trying to communicate all that shit, that's just a fucking another task on, like, we're already up to our necks and shit to do.
Yeah.
Like I work 7 days a week basically.
It's understandable.
Anyway.
Understandable.
Yeah, so in pre-season, you're subject to whatever your team wants to do, whatever the plan is. But if you're like a normal, either semi-professional or just social player, odds are you're training 2, maybe 3 times a week with the game. There is room.
But not in pre-season. There'd be no games until...
In pre-season, I'd say you're training 3 times a week,
like
maybe
February,
4.
March.
Yeah.
Like with a team, you're training twice. If you're playing like social, if you're playing like semi-professional, probably 3 to 4.
Yeah.
So this is where that matters, because if you're recreational and you're training with your team twice a week, say a Tuesday and a Thursday, you've got massive windows of opportunity to get gains.
Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty.
And
of
you
room
still have 2 or 3 months where you can really push the needle and get some quality gains.
Mm.
And if you're semi-pro, probably just like you said, just do whatever you need to do. And then that's where I'd recommend something like microdosing.
Yeah.
Like keep your high days super high, and if you've got a session on that day and you're feeling good afterwards, like get a little bit of work in, just enough to ignite the spark.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, keep the high days heavy. Give yourself at least 24, maybe 48 hours after the heavy day to recover. Maybe you can do a little bit on the second day.
But like for a semi-pro, it would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday usually. That's what it's usually like. Well, at least with
but
footy.
they're not all equal load, are they?
Nah.
Monday's like your re-intro. I'd say Wednesday, Friday would be the big ones.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so you can maybe get something a little in on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You can definitely get something in on the Sunday.
Yeah.
But I think this is where if you're gonna take the reins on your own training and add it onto what you're doing with your team in pre-season, that's where it pays to have a bit of education and know like what you're already doing with your team and what you're missing out on outside that you could, like, what holes can you plug? And that's where, like, maybe if your team's got some sort of performance coaches, have a conversation with them and say, like, I'm looking to do gym outside or do my own field sessions outside, do my own running outside. What are we doing here? And, like, what would be smart to do outside to plug gaps? What are we already doing that would be a waste of time or even dangerous to do outside? So what should I avoid and what should I aim for? How would you break it down? What training outside of your bog standard training would you do?
Well, if I was like a semi-pro footy player, I wouldn't do any intense running outside of footy probably. I would probably try to, if I needed to sprint more, I'd try to get my sprint in like on a training session day.
Yeah.
If I was to run outside of that training, I would just do like a longer, slower run on like the Saturday or the Sunday.
I would agree with that.
And if your legs are like super banged up, I would do some form of long cardio. So it could be cycling or swimming if your legs are super banged up. But I would try to get strength work in. Like that's something that I would focus on.
I think it depends if your club's doing strength work or not. Like if you're in the waffle, you're almost definitely doing something in the gym during the week as well. But sprinting's one that I would, if you're trying to get quicker, I would save that for the off season.
Yeah.
Because once you're in pre-season, the fatigue is starting to accumulate. Like you're just not fresh enough to get quicker.
Exactly. But then on like you said, when you implement stuff into your warm up, like on a training day, if your legs are feeling good, try to get like a sprint or two in the warm up.
You still should sprint. In pre-season, you should sprint, but the goal is not to get quicker. The goal is just to maintain like the tolerance to high speed running in your hamstrings and your adductors and shit like that. So like you should, like, we aim to sprint twice a week. We aim for above 90% of your max twice a week and above 95 once every 10 days. So like if your team's not got, like normally we'll just do a 1 versus 1 race at the end of the warm up on the speed day. So like whatever day you train where you've had a decent rest, like 48 hours, something like that. For us, it's only usually 24 is most we get. But basically when you feel freshest in the week, do like a 30, we aim for actually 40, like a 40 metre straight line sprint where you just give it absolutely everything. And usually if you've not got GPS and you don't know what percentage you're running at, just go for 100%. Because more often than not, if you're not fresh, you're probably not going to hit 100 anyway. You've kind of 90% usually is perceived as 100. That's why we make our players race. We just go 1 versus 1, bragging rights.
Yeah.
Give it everything you've got. And then that is usually enough to get them over the line on 90. More often than not, that'll get them 95. So I would say twice a week, aim to sprint in pre-season. Be smart about how your hamstrings are feeling, because you might be doing a lot of high-speed running. So if your hamstrings are not feeling great, it's not the end of the world that you don't hit it twice. Maybe you're only hitting it once a week, and pick a day where you feel fresh. So yeah, if you're carrying a little niggle and you don't feel 100%, probably don't max out on that day.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of the structure for like if you're doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday pre-season, obviously you do your training, you do your running on those days. I would also gym on those days.
Yeah, I would ideally do a post training session.
And I would either do like, I wouldn't do heaps of volume. I would just focus on kind of the important stuff I want to work on. It would probably be full body.
Yeah.
It would probably just be like a good squat pattern, a good hinge pattern, and then like a push and a pull. That's it.
Yeah, that's all I would do.
That's it.
Yeah, I would say quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Just get very, very low volume in and just go for some, depending on where you're at in the season, either some really, really heavy shit for low reps or some really, really fast shit for low reps. And keep the you can stretch the sets out, but just keep the reps really, really low.
Yeah, like the quality is trumps all. Yeah.
Yeah. I would never be going more than about 6 reps once I'm in pre-season.
Well, I've been doing heaps of footy pre-season training analyses, and like none of the main lifts are more than 6 reps. At the most, there's 6 reps, and that's really pushing it.
Yeah, and like the only time I would go beyond 6 is if I've identified that I'm just too small. I need to get bigger. Like I need to put some size on, because the demands of the sport mean that like I'm just not big enough for it.
Yeah.
But if you've already got the muscle and you're just going for strength and power, I would very rarely be going above 6 per set.
But also, like, it depends, the exercise really depends as well, because if you're doing like a heavy squat, you don't want to do more than 6, definitely. Probably stay between like 3, 4, 5. But then if you're doing like, I don't know, like a shoulder press, for example, like feel free to fucking push that to 8, 10 if you want. Yeah. That's fine, you know?
Yeah,
that's not going to impede on your training. That's the main goal is to make sure that gym work doesn't impede on your training and mess up that, because that's the important part.
Yeah, keep the main thing. The gym's supposed to complement that. Also with the gym, if you can't, like say you're in an environment where you don't gym, like say you're not in a waffle or like a semi-professional environment where the team doesn't have a gym and you've got to do your own gym around it, it's not the end of the world if you squeeze it in the morning of training, because you've given yourself enough time to recover. Make sure you get
Give yourself 6 hours, at least 6 hours, I reckon.
Yeah, and make sure you're getting your protein in, make sure you're hydrating, resting throughout the day. Hopefully your work's not too demanding.
And that's where like nutrition timing doesn't matter that much unless you're stacking on hard days of training, and then it actually does matter. Like you actually need to get it in.
Yeah, I would say if you get to the point that you're doing gym morning, training, afternoon timing probably matters there.
Yeah.
But in general, like if you're a normal you're getting 24 hours between sessions, the old 15, like protein in 15 minutes doesn't really matter. Just make sure you're hitting your macros.
Oh, 15 minutes is dumb. That's taking the piss, yeah. I'm talking like don't train in the morning and then go like 2 hours without eating.
Nah,
that'll fuck you.
Yeah. No, the 15 minutes was like a bit of research back in the day that like it had, I can't even remember, it's been so long since I've read it, but it had some sort of like it hastens recovery a little bit.
It's the slightest bit, slightest like almost not influential bit.
But in terms of gains, it makes no difference.
Yeah.
Once you're getting your macros within that 24 hours, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, so essentially that's it. If you're doing the 3 days a week semi-pro, you will have a gym at your club, and that's where you can do your work. Or just do it after training. Like that's what I would do.
Go straight to the gym.
I would just do it straight after training. No more than 30 minutes. Like if you're in there for longer than like 45 minutes, you're doing it wrong.
Taking the piss,
Like then you're actually going to get super fatigued, and it's going to impede on your training.
Yeah.
The more important part is our recreational brothers out there. The Tuesday, Thursday trainers.
Yeah. Well, I haven't thought about this in a long time. Like when I would gym, I would probably still do the Tuesday, Thursday after training.
Yeah.
Go gym and then like something on the weekend. But as far as what I do in the gym, I would agree with you. I do the squat, hinge, push, pull, volume, load, just short and sharp, get in and out.
Yeah.
Get the dose, carry on.
You know what? I would probably not do full body. I would probably do the lower on the days that I'm at training. Like ideally, you got to think, people are tradies and they're going to finish work, go to training on Tuesday and Thursday. They're not going to want to go to the gym after.
Yeah.
But in the ideal world, and what I did was I would go to the gym on Tuesday, Thursdays after training and get my legs in. And then on like Monday, Wednesday, I would get my upper body in.
Yeah.
And then that leaves Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 3 days where you can get like either a full body session, a run, and a rest day. Like you could do all that on those 3 days, or you could take 2 rest days and have a like high load day. Like it leaves your options pretty good.
Yeah, I would bounce between either that or, in an ideal world, it depends on whether like how fatigue tolerant you are. Because if you just get that general like autonomic fatigue where you just feel flat and like lethargic, like you're sensitive to that, then I would try and get the whole body in and get that extra rest day in. Doing absolutely nothing.
But it's also good because if you are a recreational sportsman and you say you work a desk job, going to the gym on that extra day a week is actually pretty good because you get more movement in. Yeah. Instead of being a fat ass.
Yeah. So that's the gym. You also mentioned some sort of prolonged endurance.
Prolonged endurance, or like we were talking about before, if you need to work on change of direction, acceleration, stuff like that, you could do that on a Saturday, you know, because that leaves a day before and a day after that you can recover.
I would lean towards the endurance because I think that's what.
Yeah, I would too, but it depends on it's context dependent.
Yeah.
Depends if the person needs it or not.
But yeah, I think that's what you're missing in training. I think in training you get plenty of exposures to change of direction and linear speed, but you don't get that sustained steady state effort. And I think that's really important for building, or at least maintaining your gas tank. Like that's all Gareth Sanford's like critical speed stuff. Like, yes, you do a lot of volume in team sports, but it's very intermittent. The rest periods are too long. Like you're not actually really challenging your aerobic system very much. So I think, that would be the thing I'd be looking at. I'd be looking at least 40 odd minutes a week of some sort of sustained aerobic activity, whether it's running or on the bike or rowing or swimming, whatever you want to do, but where you've got yourself at least breathing heavier than rest for a sustained period. And I probably wouldn't be doing any HIIT because that's just going to push you over the edge. I would just do a steady state where I can feel that my gas tank's working, but I'm not hitting the red line.
Yeah, I do the same probably, but you know, if you did what we said and you like have a good post season, you have a good off season heading in, good Christmas, and you've actually built up quite a lot of capacity and you're actually feeling how good body's feeling good. Like if you want to do some of that more hitty stuff on a Saturday and you've built yourself for it.
Yeah, if you've got the capacity for it,
but,
you probably get away with it.
Yeah, majority of the time you just want to like, there's nothing wrong with that as well, that long endurance stuff. It's not going to cause any like major fatigue or anything. In fact, it's probably going to be regenerative.
Yeah, it will. It'll, in the long term, it'll actually help buffer fatigue. This is why like your endurance athletes are more fatigue averse than your speed athletes because they usually have a better gas tank.
Yeah.
And it's your aerobic system is predominantly responsible for your recovery. Like that's the thing that's regenerating all of your muscles and shit like that when you're not actually training. The better your aerobic. That's why like the engines also recover from injuries a bit faster.
Yeah.
Because it's your aerobic energy system underpins absolutely everything in your body. But
also the same for, just quickly, people that like, because a lot of people just train at the gym just to get big, obviously, like bodybuilding type. Like your recovery is going to be way better if your heart's health is actually good and it's not shit.
Yeah.
And that's why like the whole cardio kills your gains was such a shit thing forever.
Yeah.
But anyway, nonetheless.
I had one more point to make. I've lost it now.
You need more caffeine, though.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Can you get me another cold brew before I shit my pants?
No, that's pretty much... That's not a bad shout. Maybe like a upper Monday, Tuesday. But then if you didn't want to train gym on the same days as you train footy, then are you doing like maybe you're definitely doing a Friday and say like a Sunday gym sesh.
On a Tuesday, Thursday setup or a
like,
Monday, Wednesday,
no,
Friday?
Tuesday, Thursday, if you don't want to go to the gym on the same days as you train, then how does that change the picture?
Yeah, I guess I'd do a Friday, Sunday.
A Friday, Sunday, because then that gives you the Friday you get the day after to recover, and even the Saturday. And then if you do it on the Sunday, you get the Monday to recover before training. And so you're fresh for training.
Yeah. And also we mentioned that 2 days a week is enough when you're in season. You don't need to be doing anything more than 2 days a week.
Yeah.
You still should be keeping the main thing. Everything all your training should revolve around, when am I doing my sport?
Exactly, which people miss heaps. But I really like high days and low days. Like,
Same.
I subscribe to that massively now. Yeah.
All right, moving on to keeping the main thing in season. What are you doing?
Surviving.
Yeah. You're doing shit that makes you feel good in season.
Literally, that's the perfect way to put it. Just shit that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So if you do go to the gym, like, don't do anything that's going to kill you. Just make sure you feel good. Like, if that's just 3x3 hell heavy quarter box squats, and that makes you feel good, that keeps you moving, that keeps your power output high.
Yeah, I would move heavy shit fast in the start of the gym session, and then heavy shit slow in the back, and keep it very, very low dose.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all you would do in season, and then just carry on fucking other shit that makes you feel good and train.
And if recovery makes you feel good, then
do recovery.
Do that, but each their own. And whatever you do is recovery, whether that's having a wank and eating some KFC,
chucking your dick,
or it's literally like going to ice baths or some shit.
It's basically the same thing. They're both masturbation.
But you know what? Active recovery probably isn't substantially better than just doing absolutely nothing. But for me, I feel way better. Like, getting outside makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, I think the research shows there's not a major difference.
But I think psychologically, I just feel way better when I go outside and go for a walk and stuff like that. So if that's just figure out what works for you with recovery.
Pretty much, whatever you like.
But decent blueprint.
That is the blueprint, yeah.
But before we finish, I want to get into energy systems with fitness and running.
So we're going to get in the weeds.
We're getting a specialist in here to talk about it. I want to break it down for everybody, and then I would like to break down kind of, ideally, if you had to prescribe training to yourself or somebody else during these periods, like, what kind of would you be prescribing?
What does it look like? Yeah, how do I break it down? I guess I'll just talk my own training, because that's pretty much what I do at the moment. I've just given up on the gym.
Yeah.
My schedule's just too busy. I can't get into the gym. So running is the only thing that is like dynamic enough to where if I find 20 minutes, I can do it.
Yeah. But let's start from, I want to talk about energy systems made famous by Gareth Sanford, which absolute champion, man. Huge respects for that guy. Let's talk about it. What is it?
Well, energy systems is not. Critical speed's made famous by the GOAT Sanford. But no, energy systems in general. Little sports science 101, exercise science undergrad. So you've got your aerobic energy system. You go. I always think slow to fast, basically, in terms of energy production. So you've got your aerobic energy system, which is your endurance energy system, the one that produces energy slow, but it's theoretically unlimited. It can just carry on. Then you've got your anaerobic, which is slightly faster and has a lower tolerance to fatigue, or produces more fatiguing byproducts. And then you've got your ATP PCR, which is like your explosive energy system. That's the one that's like immediate. If I need energy right now to get up and go, ATP PCR is going to be the one. So the aerobic energy system is generally oxygen and fats, produces your ATP. All of these produce ATP. So ATP is just the thing that your body uses to...
It's like your body's currency for energy.
Pretty much, yeah. The anaerobic is without oxygen, because generally it needs to produce ATP faster than what your body can move oxygen into the cell. And it will burn your carbs, and then so that's why we would never recommend that you go on a no carb diet if you've got to be an explosive athlete, because that is a big mistake. Yeah, I did that once when I was Don't you feel how flat?
20.
Yeah,
I did. I was still playing really good, but every time I went onto the pitch to play a game, I was like, fuck, I've got no energy. Yeah. I didn't go no carbs, but I dropped it significantly.
Yeah, you just lose your last gear, is what I hear from a lot of people. I just don't have my fifth gear.
I don't know what it, I don't know what it was. And I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was trying to achieve, what the objective or desired outcome was, but I did it for a little bit.
I went on it a little bit when I was fighting, which is the fucking dumbest thing you can do because it's just fighting is like so much ATP, PCR in your anaerobic system.
Yeah.
But so you use no oxygen and carbs, carbohydrates or glucose for the anaerobic system, and then your ATP, PCR is so all your muscles have a little bit of ATP just stored and ready to go in the muscle, and then you have phosphocreatine, so like the creatine that you supplement, and that can also be converted to, I think it's bound with ADP to create ATP from memory. This has gone way back, and that just creates immediate energy again. So those are your three energy systems. You use all three in team sports, and you can bias your training to focus on one of the three. Usually when for the most part, when I'm doing running, it's really just, I guess if you include sprinting, you're also training ATP, PCR. But most of my energy system conditioning is more biased towards tickling the aerobic and anaerobic energy system in different ways. And I think the most important thing to note, especially with energy system training, is that the aerobic energy system underpins all three. So
it's like how can I put this? It's like the slab of a house.
Yeah.
You need it, otherwise
it's fully the foundation. Like
doesn't matter what's built on it, it needs to be there.
Yeah, like when you've exhausted your ATP PCR system, it's the aerobic energy system that resynthesizes that ATP PCR to store it back in the muscle.
Yeah, which is hell weird because I only obviously have been diving into this stuff over the last couple of years, but before that I never thought about that, I never thought about like struggling to sprint or like struggling to maintain intensity or keep up intensity because your foundation isn't set.
Yeah.
That's like a really foreign thought to me until I learned that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, your aerobic system is that is your capacity.
And now I'm infatuated with the aerobic system.
Yeah, it's so elite. It's such an elite system.
But am I just infatuated because it's easier than the rest of the shit?
Maybe, yeah. My training's fully shifted to like going away from hard shit to easy shit.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit worried by that.
Yeah, I don't have the same dog in me to do the same HIIT workouts that I used to do. I used to just be able to sit in the hurt locker and fucking flog myself, and then now I've started becoming more interested in the aerobic energy system. I've just gotten accustomed to shitty easy training.
Because when you do like a critical speed session, you just feel good.
Yeah, I know.
And so you're like, fuck, I'm getting working, but I feel good, so I want to do that again.
You don't ever feel bad during a critical speed session.
But let's talk about that, because that's kind of how people can translate that into their training.
So practically
speed reserve and
your anaerobic speed reserve.
Yeah, the anaerobic speed reserve, and then the kind of trainings you can perform to work on bias these different systems. Yeah,
so forget everything I just said, because that shit's all useless anyway.
That's what I was like, all right, let's give them some sort of stuff.
Something they can actually use. So when my approach to training, the main 3 sessions I'll look at is your long, slow distance. So your like steady state training that's at a low intensity for a prolonged duration. It's like time under tension.
And so like, let's just say, to simplify it, it depends on how fit you are, but let's just say longer than 40 minutes. For someone that's a field sports athlete.
Well, that seems to be like, it's not that it's training wasted if you don't do a session as long as 40, but a lot of the adaptations you get you need like at least 40 minutes, I would say, to get the majority of the adaptations you want from a long, slow distance.
I feel like that though, like when I'm doing critical speed or long stuff and I bail, I'm like, fuck, this is where the juice is. This is where the gains are happening. Dude, you just want to not stop.
So many of my long runs, I get to like right about the 40-minute mark and I go, fuck, this is...
like, this is actually where the fucking
I've just run for 40 minutes to get to this point. I've just started dipping into it. I'm getting a good adaptation from the session. I can't be fucked now. But so that's your long, slow distance run. Then you've got like so I'll move from low intensity through to high. Long, slow distance is low intensity. You've got your tempo/critical speed, which is between sort of so you've got your lactate thresholds. Those are kind of your 2 physiological landmarks that you build all this training around. It's between your lactate threshold 1 and your lactate threshold 2. Tempo and critical speed is probably closer to that lactate threshold 1. So you're at a point where you're working hard enough or fast enough to where your aerobic energy system can't contribute alone. You need energy at such a higher rate that now your anaerobic system needs to do something.
So it's like the anaerobic system is doing something, not a lot, but it's majority. It's like the most you can push your aerobic system without delving way too hard into the anaerobic system.
Yeah. So your anaerobic system is doing something now. Now you start looking at like lactic acid and lactic acid production. And so lactic acid is a byproduct of the anaerobic energy system. It's not necessarily toxic, but it is a rate limiter, I suppose. So yeah, you'd be looking, the definition of lactate threshold 1 is now we're starting to see lactate accumulate above rest, and that tells us anaerobic energy system is doing something. These generally would be efforts that feel like a 5 or 6, maybe nearing a 7 out of 10. So you feel like you're working, you're definitely not redlining whatsoever, but like you can feel your breath is starting to pick up, starting to get a little bit short of breath here.
So this is a question just before we continue, because I've been doing some I was doing some 800 meters of critical speed.
Yeah.
And when I finished the rep, this is towards the end, this isn't at the start. When I finished the rep, I'm low key like hyperventilating just a bit, but it takes like 5 seconds or so and then I'm back to normal.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too bothered with that.
The way I'm trying to justify it is like, if I can converse, like obviously a little bit of trouble talking out loud, but I can still talk full sentences.
Yeah, I would say that's fine.
Because I don't want to go too hard where I'm, missing the fruits that we're trying to get essentially.
Yeah. So I think when you start thinking about what adaptation am I trying to achieve by doing this exercise, it starts to get a little bit clearer. I think one misconception is that if you go a little bit harder than you were supposed to, or you go a little bit lighter than you were supposed to, you've thrown the whole session out. But training energy systems is on, like a spectrum.
Like a
Yeah. So if you go a little bit too hard, you're still for the most part training the same system. You maybe
I get hell worried about that.
Nah, that's fine. I think the only thing to consider when you're like, oh fuck, did I go too hard on that session, is more the fatigue it's going to elicit, and how it's going to affect your follow-up days. But unless you're an elite level athlete, that's not too much of a consideration you have to worry about. But the quality we're training with this critical speed tempo stuff is your body's ability to buffer lactic acid. So basically, when your anaerobic system produces lactic acid, your body's got to deal with that lactic acid somewhere because it binds with hydrogen ions, and it causes acidosis. So it's like your lactic acid burn. So your body's got to get rid of that. And the way it does it is the aerobic energy system is the thing that buffers your lactic acid. So you're still indirectly training your aerobic energy system here. So that's why you want to run at an intensity that's high enough to use the anaerobic energy system a bit, but you don't want to overwhelm it to where now you're starting to get into like your VO2 max, your HIIT type stuff, because that's going to start affecting your next day. And it's also not, this gets a little blurry here, but it trains your aerobic system, energy system in a different way when you move from critical speed to your HIIT type stuff. It's a different way that I don't entirely understand. I just know from Gareth Sanford explaining it. I know that one of the differences is you go from central or from peripheral adaptations to central. Yeah. So you're not training like your capillarization now and like your mitochondrial density and things like that. You're more like training your cardiac output now and like your tidal volume and things like that. But anyway, these sessions, practically what you want them to look like. So yeah, one thing is like test your breath when you finish a rep. So am I out of breath? Has my breathing returned back to normal? I used to be like really staunch on this one. So like during a critical speed rep, I should be bang on that 5 or 6 out of 10. I should not need to breathe in through my mouth.
Through the mouth, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine dumping out the mouth. You should if you can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, that's totally fine. At one point I was like staunch, like it should be in and out through the nose, but I don't think you're pushing hard enough.
See, I've been really trying to do that. I've majority of the rep, I'm trying to breathe through my nose. And I'm like, okay, if I start to pant or anything like that, then it's like, okay, I'm going a bit too hard.
Yeah, if you get to a point where you have to do breaths in and out the mouth, it's too hard.
Because that's the problem with critical speed for all athletes, whether they're like professional or recreational, is it feels a little bit easy.
Yeah, it's very hard to
and
keep
then
yourself.
you're in your head, you're like, fuck, I'm trying to get some work in, like I'm trying to grind, but this doesn't feel like a grind. And that's why you're kind of in it for the long run with that shit, because you have to do it for a long time. And the real like results you get are after that X amount of time, depending on your fitness. If you're quite fit, so it's like at the 40-minute mark, no one gives a fuck about the first 40 minutes. It's everything from there where you're starting to like yield the results from what you're doing.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're really fit, it might be 60, it might be 90.
If you're fucking that dude that ran the 100Ks, it might be...
Yeah, it might be 3 hours before you start really getting those peripheral adaptations. The idea, I think, behind that is because in that first 40, your like type 2 fibers, like I think your body has a preference to use the anaerobic energy system in the PCR first. And then as those, like that first 40 minutes, you've kind of exhausted them. And now it's pretty much only the aerobic energy system that's working. But yeah, so also when I've been like, so now I start looking at my heart rate a little bit with my watch. I know it's supposed to be, I think it's 82 to 87% of your heart rate max is that sort of tempo critical speed realm. And when I've trained that, I've noticed my breathing's a bit harder than what I used to train it when I would just go straight off feel. So yeah, I tend to lean. You
tend to lean a little bit less conservative when you're doing that stuff.
Yeah, I'll push a little bit more. So yeah, if you can manage by breathing in the nose, out the mouth, that's fine. But if you can't control your breathing and you're starting to speed it up, you're going way too hard.
And then at the end of the reps,
I reckon you've got about 5 seconds.
Yeah, so like you're giving yourself like a 5 second, maybe a little bit longer window where like you allow yourself to fucking...
Yeah, I reckon like 2 or 3 breaths and then you should be pretty much back to normal, back to baseline by then.
Yeah, and that's why I like that talking test. Just start talking to myself in the park and
I'll sing.
People are staring at me.
I'll fully sing.
Yeah, because if you can sing or rap, then I guess you're fine.
Yeah. But I'll just lips it like a psychopath. I'll just fucking, lip sync whatever song I'm fucking running to. Yeah, so that's your critical speed. Generally, I would look for 1 long slow distance in the week, maybe 2, depending on like sort of what you're focusing on in terms of adaptation throughout the week. If you're really focusing on those peripheral adaptations and you feel like I need more, I'm really trying to bias the aerobic energy system, the long slow distance, you might do 2. Critical speed, I would do, I guess it depends how many times you're training a week.
And like that's another thing with the long duration. If you're opting to run, depends how fucking sore and heavy your legs are, because that'll really mess it up too. I reckon.
But all of these can be applied to any modality.
Yeah,
I think you can do it running, cycling.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I want to buy myself a nice bike, because I'm like, fuck, my legs are always so heavy. I don't want to do a 2-hour run. But anyway.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I feel like it's so much easier to do a 2-hour bike ride than it is to do a 2-hour run. But I would do 1 HIIT, 1 long slow distance, and then the rest critical speed usually.
And so HIIT's working at like maximal aerobic speed-ish, or you're working around that benchmark? Because we haven't explained that either.
Above 90% heart rate max is pretty much HIIT. But quickly back to critical speed. The recommendation I think is you should be aiming for about 40 minutes per week, if not above, training in critical speed. And like classic critical speed workout is like a minute on, a minute off. You do like 12 to 16 reps. A session alone should be pushing 16 to 20 minutes at least to get that. Because the critical speed is another one that's a bit like the long slow distance. Like you have a threshold that the first couple of reps don't really matter too much. They're just getting you to the position where now you're fatiguing the right systems and actually training it. So yeah, classic 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off, 12 to 16 reps. The time I would include as critical speed is only the time that you're working.
That's what I was about to say. So you just said you want 16 minutes of work roughly, but that's working time. That's not working time, rest periods included.
Yeah, and it depends on the type of athlete you are. Like if you're more of an endurance gas tank guy, that 60 on, 60 off probably isn't really enough. That 60 on, 60 off is more for like the speed guys, the sprinters, all of that.
Yeah, and see, that's what I've noticed because I'm a little bit more endurance-y. I'm doing like 2+ minute reps. And I feel good when I'm doing it.
I prefer like, usually when I do a classic critical speed session, I'll do like 4x4, something like that, 5x4, get about 20 minutes in, spent at critical speed. But yeah, you can manipulate it anywhere from 60 seconds on to 60 off. Usually the rest I would keep to 60 off regardless of how long your working set is.
And off, like walking?
Whatever you like. If you're a really, really good endurance athlete, like elite level, you can do it
like just an active jog.
Off. Yeah. That's what most of them will do. They'll just like cruise, like float for the 60. But it seems like about 60 seconds is what your body needs to buffer that lactic acid. Because the idea between these sessions is during the work, you're building your lactate, building, getting kind of near about that sort of threshold-ish, probably a little bit lower. And then you stop, 60 seconds, your body buffers, then you start again and you just sort of repeat, do this, because what you're training is that buffering.
So you're knocking on the door of getting that lactate, but then you just like...
Yeah, so the adaptation really occurs in that 60 seconds off, but it's also buffering for the whole rep. And that's why like your endurance runners can do longer reps because it's like your body's buffering during that entire rep, whereas like the speed guys, that lactate spikes really, really quick. So if you do longer than 60 seconds, now you're going above your threshold and you're kind of losing control of your physiology there. So that quick up and down, you're still training the buffering for the same amount of time because it's the total duration of the session you're spending buffering. It's just a different way to achieve it. And that's why you want to keep it to 60 seconds because after 60, you're just leaving time on the table really, like you've already buffered all the lactate in your body. And obviously it's going to be give and take for some people. Some people will spend longer if their aerobic system's shit. It's going to spend longer to buffer that lactate. Or if they went above their threshold and now their lactate's at like 5 millimoles or something like that, it's going to take longer. But generally, let's say you build up to about 3.5 millimoles of lactic acid or lactate in your rep, it'll be about 60 seconds to buffer that back down. And then you just carry that over and get time on attention. And then HIIT, once a week I would do HIIT. I would kind of alternate. Most weeks I would do it once a week. And then every 6 to 8 or so weeks I would do a week where I'm really focusing on the HIIT and do like maybe 2 or 3 HIIT sessions in that week. Because the HIIT will be the biggest bang for your buck.
But what is HIIT for people watching? I don't know what it is.
So high intensity interval training. Basically it's it's just where you're redlining basically. You're pushing yourself, you go into that dark place, you're getting above 90% of your maximal heart rate, you're seeing red, you're hitting your maximal aerobic speed or above.
Yeah.
Pace at VO2 max sessions, whatever you want to call it.
So that's it. A lot of people in field sports will commonly associate that with maximal aerobic speed.
Yeah, your mass running or MAS running.
Yeah, which is that's essentially an out of lab test that you can perform to work out kind of essentially your VO2 max.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Your pace at VO2 max, yeah. So it's a field-based test. That's like your 2K time trial or your 6-minute time trial, or for some people 1500, the 1500 time trial. But basically the research suggests, if you can, whatever your maximum velocity that you can maintain for 6 minutes is your pace at VO2 max, or a pace that elicits VO2 max. But you can do that test and get the wrong answer. It doesn't matter how you do the test. You want to have a consistent pace for that entire 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's something people don't consider. I was actually with mass as well, the acceleration part. That's like something that you have to consider as well.
Yeah, your intervals, yeah. But generally you want to have, like, if let's say you run that 6-minute time trial at a 3-minute 30 pace, if you're doing it to research quality and you want the best confidence in your data, it should have started at 3 minutes 30 and ended at 3 minutes 30.
So you have to build to the pace and hold it for 6 minutes.
You should, yeah. For a 6-minute time trial, not for a workout, but if you're trying to determine your MAS, you should. I think if you're being really, really robust about how you gather the data, it's actually taking your average pace of the last 2 minutes. So you spend the first 4. So like what we'll usually do, definitely when I test it for myself, I'll have a target pace. So first 4 minutes, I'll go, I think this is what my MAS is at. So like maybe it's a 3-minute 20 pace. So I'll target 3-minute 20 for the first 4 minutes. And then the last 2 minutes, I'll just rip the lid off it and I'll go as hard as I can. And it's still average pace on that last 2. So you kind of want to get...
So that's more accurate than just the 6-minute all-out effort.
Yeah. But it's still an all-out effort. because like that 3 minutes 20 is basically going to be all out for the first 4 as well. Like you're taking an educated guess on what my all out's going to be, but you want as consistent of a pace as you can possibly get. But yeah, so that's how you test your MAS, and then it's anything above, like 90% of that average velocity you achieved over the 2K or the 6 minute time trial. And there's lots of ways you can program HIIT, but generally I'll do it once a week. Every so often I'll do it up to 3 times a week. You get lots of bang for your buck for it, but if you overdo it, you just end up cooking yourself. Like you're cooking your aerobic energy system, you're fatiguing yourself, you're overreaching. There's you pay a big price for doing too much HIIT. You'll end up going backwards rather than going forwards. So it's one of those things you want to sprinkle in rather than have it the main piece. And that's where team sports go really wrong, because that's pretty much the only sort of, that's every team sport athlete's idea of fitness. It's just fucking rip the lid off it, max out.
I remember from Waffle, literally just...
That's all you do.
Just spamming mass, but also just like Eurofit 15 on, 15 off.
Yeah.
Which obviously isn't right for everyone.
Nah, but the tricky thing is like that's kind of the only fitness you can fit into that environment, because it just logistically is so hard to get buy-in for a team to go for especially in season, like 45-minute long slow distance run, or even your critical speed. Like it's very fucking hard to, like we don't do it where I work because we just don't have the time in the week to get the players to do a 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off. If you're going for 16 minutes, there's a 32-minute session. Even if you do like a 4x4, that's what, 16 plus
20,
your rest, 20-minute session right
minutes,
there. Yeah. So it's very hard to squeeze it into the week, and that's why like usually this has to be like your extra session outside of training, or in your off season you do it.
But you reckon there's any point in, say you've finished a training session and you're like, I can get 2 sets of like 4 minutes critical speed in here. Like, should you do it? Are you going to push the needle, or is it just like...
I couldn't tell you. I don't have the answer to that. Like, maybe.
Yeah, that's because obviously you accumulate volume and then you hit a certain point where you actually do yield results. But then is it like, should you just throw out the window getting little bits in wherever you can?
Yeah, I think, the question you're asking is what's the minimum effective dose of critical speed? And like Gareth Sanford, he's kind of suggested it's in around that 20-minute mark. So like maybe you are just wasting your time if you do 2 sets of 4. I have no idea. I don't know if there's any research that exists on that, but...
I'll have to look that up. Surely he said something about it, but...
Yeah, he's definitely said, I can remember him citing about the 20-minute mark. But so your HIIT is like your classic interval stuff, like you said, your Eurofit, your 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off.
Anybody that's played a field sports at like a decent level knows this, where like you've probably got it'd probably be like roughly 70 meters. It's probably like 65 to like 80 meters, and then it depends on your fitness. And then they blow the whistle, you run all the way to the end, you've got 15 seconds to get there, and then you'll have about 15 seconds of rest before you go again, and you're usually doing like 8 to 12 reps of it.
Yeah, a couple of sets of, exactly that, 8 to 12, somewhere around that. You could go as short, low as 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off. You could stretch it out. I think the most I've ever seen in like a team sports environment is, actually, to be fair, I've done a minute on. I've done 60-second reps before, but that was tough.
You can do 4x4, yeah?
Yeah, then you're getting into your long interval.
Because I did 4x4 once, and it fucking murdered me, man.
Oh, I still do. That's my normal HIIT, is a 4x4.
It killed me.
Fucking sucks.
It really... I was in my head like, oh man, I'm not built for this shit.
Yeah, if you really program it, like you work out what's... Like classic is a 4x4 minute with 2-minute rest in between sets at about 90% of your MAS.
Yeah.
And if you truly work out 90% of your MAS and stick to that for the 4x4, first rep's usually pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then 2, you're starting to feel it. The back 2 are just fucking hell. They absolutely suck.
It actually killed me.
But so in HIIT you've got short interval and long interval. So short interval would be anywhere from 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off, up to, I would say like 30 on, 30 off is probably the longest of what I would call short interval. And then anything past 30 on, you're starting to get to like medium to long interval. I love a medium interval as well for a HIIT. I'll do like a 90 seconds on, 2 minutes off at like 105 to 110% MAS, where I'm just fucking flying and like really opening up. Get down to like a 3-minute kilometer and you just feel fucking quick as. But even those, like I'll do 4 of those to accumulate 6 odd minutes of pace like above VO2 max. And like the first one's usually sick, and then like the last 3 just fucking suck. It's really hard that you start breaking down by the last one.
Form just goes to absolute dirt.
Goes to shit, yeah. But with these HIIT sessions as well, so critical speed, I'd always say rest between reps is 60 seconds. For HIIT, I would always give like 2 minutes between sets, just because that's, I believe that's about the time it takes for your like respiration at VO2 max to recover or something like that. There's another term for it, but I can't remember what the fuck it's called now. But basically it's just how long it takes your breathing to come back down from VO2 max. Unless you're doing like your short interval, then obviously between reps I'll just do a 1-to-1 work rest. So whatever time you're working, whether it be 10 up to 30 seconds, you're resting that equal amount of time off. You can obviously manipulate it other ways, but that's good enough. And then between your sets on that short HIIT, I would still give 2 minutes. So we did a set of 8. I would do another 2 minutes rest before I go into
just to get your breath back to like normal.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, run it back.
Yeah, pretty much. And then your medium HIIT, I would say, is anywhere from 30-second reps up to probably 2-minute reps. Like sometimes I'll do 2-minute reps at about MAS and do like 3 or 4 of those. They fucking suck as well. And then your long interval, generally I wouldn't go much longer than 5-minute reps. That's like pretty tough.
But 90% of your mass is probably like the lowest you'd go?
88%, yeah, somewhere around that. Once you're getting lower than that,
That
you're
is,
getting in the realm
5 minutes of that is fucking hard as
fucking
fuck.
tough, yeah. So for reference too, we're talking percentage of MAS. So MAS is that average pace you work out with your 6-minute time trial or your 2K.
And essentially, it's like the time correlation to your VO2 max.
The velocity, so how fast you can move to elicit VO2 max. The way you would work that out, some people will talk kilometers an hour, some will talk meters per second. It's easier to work it out at meters per second.
Yeah.
But you're basically looking at how many meters did I cover? So let's say for a 2K time trial, you covered 2,000 meters, and then what was the time it took me? So if it was 6 minutes, you would do 6 times 60 seconds to get how many seconds? And then I think you divide the distance by the seconds. It might be the other way around. It might be divide the seconds by the distance. I always forget. But that'll give you a velocity. And usually like if you're unfit, it'll be somewhere around like the high 3s to low 4s meters per second. If you're fit, it'll be like the high 4s to the low 5s. If you're a freak, it'll be like 5.5 and above. But that's your meterage per second. That's your value. That's my pace at VO2 max in meters per second. And then you will multiply that by percentages to get these intensities. So like we're talking 90% of your MAS, you would take that 5 meters per second if that's what you got, times it by 0.9, that gives you your pace for this run. And you can use like an online converter to change that to minutes per kilometre if you're doing like your long HIIT.
Gareth Sanford has his own converter for critical speed,
Yeah,
but then
I
think he's got one for mass as well, which is pretty good if you need to convert all your shit.
Yeah, it helps. And then that you do have rough parameters for these different runs. So like your long slow distance, I would say is safe bet is about 60% of pace at MAS. It's going to change because you can move these needles based on what sort of training you're doing, but about 60% if you're really, really fit and have really chased the dragon and that.
Chase the dragon.
you might get up to about 70%. Then your critical speed, tempo stuff.
That's like anywhere from 75 to like 85?
Yeah, if you've really, really like got the low hanging fruit on that as well, you get it up to 90.
Yeah.
And then your HIIT, your like VO2 max, your MAS is 90 and above for the most part. And you can, if you're doing your short HIIT, you can go all the way up to 120 odd %. So you're doing like super maximal. And that's where like if you're going above 100% MAS, you should start using aerobic speed reserve. But if you're really interested in that, Look it up yourself. There's another fucking
Mate,
massive rabbit hole.
literally, I was just about to say, we've got to finish because I literally have to go to work. I've
Yeah,
got work in
we'll
4
leave-
minutes and
we'll
work's
leave it
10
there.
minutes away. I wanted to get into the anaerobic speed reserve, but
We'll talk about it.
we're going to have to wait till you're back from Melbourne, mate.
Yeah, next year. Stay tuned. Just
Because
search
that
for
would be
yourself.
that would actually be hell good to explain to help people like figure out whether they're like speed based,
Yeah.
endurance based, or
That's
like
a-
maybe a mixture of the three. I'll cover that on another.
That's some very high level stuff. There's people I work with that don't know it to that level. They just know it as like an intensity measure. They don't actually know what it's useful for.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're getting into that rabbit hole, you're doing a really, really good job. But if you're interested, look up Gareth Sanford.
Yeah, just go to him. He's literally the fucking go to this stuff. He's got photos of himself on his walls graduating.
Yeah, legends, yeah. Or Nathan Heaney. Nathan Heaney's another really good one. He's an Australian bloke, worked in footy.
Nathan
Yeah, the conditioning consultant.
Keeley? No.
Heaney. Nathan
Oh,
Heaney, yeah.
There's
he's
another
good.
guy called Nathan Keeley who's actually quite good as well.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. Hope you enjoyed. Pleasure as always. Good luck at Melbourne victory, my buddy.
Thanks,
Don't
bud.
be too performative over there.
Yeah, I'll try not. Yeah, if I come back with a fucking Kelly mullet, you'll know that I've lost.
Yeah. Thanks. Fuck, I hell wanted to talk about. I could have easily done that for way longer.
That's a fucking massive rabbit hole. We would have spent another